Rutgers 2024-25 basketball season, for all intents and purposes, is over. Okay, I hope you're all staying warm on a blustery and cold, windy day in New Jersey. Just came in from the cold, got a little something to keep me warm. Hope you are staying warm and cozy as well. And yes, it's over for Rutgers basketball. Did a short recap after the game last night and started today reassessing of what happened in the game, what some of my thoughts and comments were, and it hasn't changed. And it hasn't changed because going back to the summer, I saw a lot of these things happen. We fall 75-63 to Wisconsin. We're now 8-7. I think 1-3 in the Big Ten. And these views may not be very popular. Nonetheless, here we go. This team is a disjointed team. Just watching them last night, as I said in last night's review or recap, they just looked disjointed. Didn't really know what they were trying to accomplish, hoisting up shots. Undisciplined. They're a team searching for an identity, searching for some rhythm, searching for a style of play that gives them some consistency and the ability to pull out some of these games in the end. You know, all summer long, people were getting excited about the potential for this team. Mostly everybody had them as a Sweet 16. Many had us as an Elite 8. I'm thinking if we got to the tournament, that would be a plus. Went over this 1,000 times. How melding two high-flying, on-ball dominant recruits into a style of play that we're used to playing based on grittiness and defense and playing well together as a team, playing team defense. That remains to be seen. If Coach Peichel can coach that kind of offensive game, and if he can, will he still be able to play the kind of defense he wants to? And as I've said several times, so far, the jury is not out. We're unable to execute. There's a difference between perception and recruiting ranks and executing on the field or the court, whether it's basketball or football. You know, as we saw in football, right, Rutgers football was ranked higher than Boise and Arizona State and Indiana, but yet they're the ones in the playoff. You know, basketball's got the same bugaboo. Marquette, Iowa State, Auburn, yeah, they all had pretty good recruiting classes in top 20. They weren't a top 5 team like us, and they're all ranked. They're all in the top 5, top 8. We just can't seem to pull it together into a cohesive, successful unit. And you kind of had to see this coming with Ace and Dylan being very talented on ball, ISO ball players, although Dylan is very good at facilitating, but he's better with the ball than without it. He's most dominant, with the ball in his hands. He's actually kind of like Carmelo. His freshman and only year at Syracuse. Carmelo was a 22, 10, and 2 guy his freshman year. Dylan's 22, 5, and 4. And, both are kind of finesse guys, not much on the defense. Carmelo for sure was a little more ISO, but he can pass out of that if he wanted to. Ace is just, he's an ISO ball guy that's not going to facilitate, and he's going to take the craziest shot possible. Sometimes they go in. But he's individually a very talented player, physically. Kind of reminds us of that other dunk specialist, that other Rutgers player named Bailey, James Bailey. Very similar. Ace is averaging 19 and 7. James Bailey Sophomore year, I think, averaged 18-7. You know, he was a physically dominating force, especially close to the basket. But contrary to what the guys on Rutgers or NewJersey.com say, this team doesn't stink because we have 2 stars and the rest of the team stinks. The 2 stars, and this is not going to be a popular opinion, the way that they play doesn't fit good team basketball. This isn't a McDonald's high school All-American team where you and on over how many points a guy can score. You have to be able to play well together and at both ends of the floor. At least when it comes to the way that Steve Pikiell wants to play. We're not playing that way. We had one complete game against Columbia. You know, watching the game last night in the second half reminded me of 2019, 2020 Rutgers basketball. It wasn't pretty, but they were hustling, bringing energy, diving after the ball, playing defense, missing some shots, but defending on the other end of the court, and they were in the game. They got the lead down to 3 points. We could have gotten, if we hit that ace hit a turnaround jumper, we could have got it to 1 point. And actually felt comfortable at that point. This is how we're supposed to play. I'd love to see us have a more integrated process where we can play offense and defense, but it's obviously we're having trouble integrating all the parts. Instead of hoping that our star power can carry us, and people like stars, New York area, we're focused on professional sports, and we kind of view our college sports the same way. Who are the stars? Okay, we'll give them the benefit of the doubt. Individual, on-ball, dominant performers is not the way that we can win, at least not with this coaching staff and this philosophy. Now, I've been imagining all year long, what would it look like if Cliff was in there? Boy, if we had a legitimate rim defender and presence in the paint, this team would be a totally, completely different team. And by the way, could we just do away with the starting off Boley thing and get Lathan in there? I don't care what flaws he has. It's obviously he's more productive, and he was scrappy last night. Dylan Grant, Tyson Acuff, Lathan. They, what hustle and scrappiness. Dirk had too. Jay Will too, but they weren't real productive last night, and they were a little bit out of control. But you can just see the style of play that those guys together can play, even with our stars on the bench. Last night, those guys almost pulled out this game. We almost found a combination that could play the way Steve Pikiell wants to play. With just the last couple minutes, we couldn't make shots. Wisconsin did, and that's why we lost. And to get back to it being a lost season, if Dylan and Ace are gone after a year and you're one and done, even if we were, say 10-3, and we were on the top half of the Big Ten instead of at the bottom, what good would it have done? Maybe you win a game in the tournament. Okay, bye guys, thanks for the memories. It was always fool's gold. Short of, getting to the championship game, Final Four, it was always going to be fool's gold. And now you're left behind with a team that's sort of the team and style of play that you've been playing for the past few years. actually might not be a bad way to go. Now, I think some of the shine is coming off of Coach Peichel. And maybe if he could just be that guy that has a winning record, wins a game or two in the tournament or in the Big Ten tournament, gets to a tournament every once in a while, make a little bit of a run, maybe that's the way to go. In the NIL era, in the era of college basketball players not being student athletes, they're professional players that bring their brands with them. Managing that and getting them to be productive and coaching them and disciplining them and all those things that come with amateur athletics, that's out the window. So maybe finding an identity with these 3-star guys who are not chased after by the big boy programs, but you can kind of turn them into something and get them to play the way that you need to play. Maybe that's just the way we have to go about our business. You know, the guys on RutgersRantNJ.com today were talking about, it didn't really matter how well or not well we did this year. The fact that we had a couple 5-stars was not going to matter much in the long run. We're not going to be that university that year after year gets 5 stars. And if they fail, their thought is for sure we're not going to get those 5 stars. But I think you can win with a 3-star lineup and a 4-star guy sprinkled in here and there. Getting to the tournament, getting some tournament wins in overtime. Build your program to the point where those 5-star guys start to come. If you're getting 19, 20, 21, 22, 23 wins a year, and you're getting to the tournament. Right now, what do we have? One play-in tournament game? In how many years with Coach Peichel? 6, 7 years? As frustrating as it was, watching those teams, Rutgers teams the past few years, couldn't hit a free throw. Missed, I don't know, we had to have the worst layup percentage in the NCAA. Can't hit threes, going 8 minutes without scoring. All of that used to drove me nuts. But when it got to a tight game and you were pulling your hair out, you kind of liked it because you knew, okay, this is our kind of ball. We stand as much a chance as the other team as winning. Right now, I think people are just, again, they're waiting. Well, as soon as Dylan's better and he's back in there, we're going to have our chance. If we have to count on Ace and Dylan outscoring and our team outscoring the other Big Ten teams, that's not a recipe for success. We're going to have to play well at both ends of the floor. It's not going to be about 2 5-star guys averaging 40 points a game. We're going to have to do the things that good basketball teams do. And we're just not. So that's the rant for today. We got some games coming up that, I don't know. Boop, boop, boop. My ring lights keep going out. I don't know what's up with that. Nonetheless, January, as I've said a few times, is going to be the month. Not shaping up very well. And I actually don't see how we make a run. We're just too erratic, too inconsistent. From half to half, game to game, week to week, I don't think it's in the cards for us to we're not getting to the tournament, and getting to the NIT will be a bit of a struggle. Not good news. Nonetheless, everybody stay warm. And I'd say enjoy the week, but it's never good after a loss. And when it's blustery and cold like this with another potential snowstorm coming up, I think Saturday or Sunday. Nonetheless, have a good week, everybody, and we'll see you the next time.